What is going on, my family? Welcome back to another exciting video. This video here is something special because it is my interview that I had with my good friends over at Arcade Press. Guys over at Arcade Press, they cover all kinds of fighting games, pretty much every fighting game that you can think of. They have coverage of it. They're one of the finest people in the world, kindest people in the world, and we have gotten together for an ultimate epic interview when we talk about the fighting games, when it talks about 2024 going into 2025, covering topics when it comes to Tekken, Virtua Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and what to look for in the future when it comes to these fighting games, and also the future when it comes to Virtua Fighter. It's all going to be in this interview here. As y'all see in the background of my screen, it's the Twitter information for Arcade Press. So if y'all want to go on Twitter, if y'all have a Twitter account, y'all can go to their Twitter page, follow them, and when you follow them, the link into their web page is also in their Twitter description. Go ahead and subscribe to them because, like I said, they cover fighting games like nobody else when it comes to FGC news. But before we get into this interview, make sure y'all grab a snack, grab a drink, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to your boy. And I hope everybody enjoys this classic interview that I had with Arcade Press. Let's get into this shit.
Yo, this is Arcade Press, and I'm Arcade Future, and we're here with a very, very special guest, Demetrius, also known as D all the way G. How you doing, bro?
Hey man, I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So why don't you just briefly reintroduce yourself to our audience and remind them about who it is you are and what it is that you do. You're a man of many talents, but why don't you talk, how would you describe yourself?
I would just describe myself as basically, just a casual gamer, content creator. Every now and then, I do it competitively. Every now and then I do travel, go to events, stuff like that. Just all around casual, nothing special.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you've been what originally caught my eye about your content before about 2 years ago, which I can't believe it's been 2 years, 2022. I mean, kind of going on 3 years now because it'll be 2025 soon. And I can't believe it's been that long, man. I felt like we maybe talked a year ago, but it's been way longer than that. And what caught my eye about your stuff initially was just, your real, raw approach to content creation. You spread your own opinion, your own perspective, and I love that sort of thing about your content. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of follow up on that conversation because back in 2022 when we talked, Tekken was not out yet. There was no news of a Virtua Fighter 6. Mortal Kombat 1 wasn't even out yet at the time. I don't even think we saw much about a new Mortal Kombat during 2022. So there was a lot that hadn't happened yet, and now all that stuff has not only come out, but it's been out for a minute. So I kind of want to just get a feel for how is your perspective now on the state of fighting game culture from probably from back 2-3 years ago. How do you feel about where we are right now and where we're going? I know you've had some opinions, some things that stand out to me about your content was like Mortal Kombat has kind of fallen from grace, and they've kind of consistently dropped the ball. I was also disappointed in that game, but we'll get into it. But just what do you feel about the current state of the FGC and of gaming in general? Maybe you could start with the fighting games, but then kind of branch out to all the gaming. Like, what's your feel, man? Because a lot of things going on. I feel like every day there's controversy.
Me personally, I feel like, with fighting games, everything is getting stronger. Communities are getting stronger. You know what I'm saying? Now, with the mention of a new Virtua Fighter and things like that. And not to mention, there's also going to be a new Fatal Fury game. So fighting games are really getting stronger. I kind of feel like despite whether people give their opinion on something, whether other people feel like it's negative or positive, it just shows the fact that how many people do care about what's going on with these fighting games. And like I said, from 2 years ago, it's getting stronger. More people are voicing their opinion. And my opinion is that it's just they're caring more about what's going on. So I'm really happy about what's going on when it comes to fighting games. You feel what I'm saying? And then when it comes to gaming in general, I feel like gaming in general is still as strong as it was. For example, like Call of Duty is kind of making a little bit of resurgence, with the Black Ops 6 and stuff like that. So, I'm really happy, and, I really feel like, we're in good hands when it comes to gaming because I really do feel like things have gotten stronger. And not to mention GTA 6 is also on the horizon because when we did our last interview, GTA 6 was nowhere to be found, so we still got GTA 6 to look for. So, I'm excited. I think gaming is going in a great direction, and I'm happy for what's going on.
Yes, sir. What do you think about GTA 6? I mean, do you think it'll come out next year? I know you're very, I wouldn't say critical, but you're very vocal about Rockstar and some of the decisions that they make. Do you anticipate that the GTA 6 will be out next year, or do you think they're going to postpone it even more?
I think it's going to come out like 2026. It may come out a little bit earlier than that, but I'm looking at 2026, given Rockstar's history. So 2026 will probably be like a good, a good prediction for GTA 6.
Most definitely. What game that maybe isn't out yet that you're probably most looking forward to besides GTA 6? What game is impressing you the most that's not out yet that you're really looking forward to? I already know Virtua Fighter 6 is probably first thing that comes to mind, but besides like fighting games, what other game are you really looking at and excited to play?
Be quite honest with you, I don't really have one from a specific standpoint. It's just right now, whenever a game gets announced, I'll do some study on it, watch trailers, and then I'll decide from there. So, other than the games I've mentioned, it's just really just whatever game that just catches my eye. And as far as them showing more and more information about the game, that's when I make my decision.
Most definitely, most definitely. And what are your impressions on Virtua Fighter right now? Like Virtua Fighter, like how do you think it'd fit into the scene right now with games like Tekken, with games like Street Fighter? How do you think it's going to differentiate itself? I know that you were basically saying on your YouTube, you were like telling your fans, let it cook, just let the game develop. What are you anticipating? How will the fans react to a game like that? I'm guessing it's probably going to be more realistic. It's going to be more gritty. We don't really know for sure exactly what it's going to be like, but we've just seen a couple seconds of gameplay. How are you anticipating the game will fit into the appetite of fighting game fans? Because we know that the fighting game universe on Twitter, X, and around the world is a beast. It's a machine that works in mysterious ways. How do you see Virtua Fighter fitting in, dealing with games like Tekken that are really, really strong in the scene?
Me personally, I think it's going to fit in from the competition, esports level. That's one of the things that Virtua Fighter is mainly known for, especially in Japan. The esports level, I think that's where it'll really fit in. Games showing up at events and stuff like that. And also, too, when it comes to Virtua Fighter, like you said, from a realistic level, I kind of feel like it'll fit into where people don't have to worry about too much complication when it comes to the system of Virtua Fighter, meaning that they don't have to worry about a heat system or things like that, or a breakaway system. I kind of feel like with the new Virtua Fighter coming out, it's going to stick to that tradition of not giving us complicated things when it comes to the system. So that's how I feel like Virtua Fighter will fit in.
Dope. And Tekken 8 was definitely not out in 2022. It's been out for a while. I know you're an Eddie main. You've been dropping a ton of videos on the channel, just showing your evolution and progress through Tekken 8. What's your take on the game as it is right now? We just had, Clive drop. I know that definitely polarized the community. What's your sort of impression? I know you obviously spoke about a little bit about that specific character on the channel, but the overall state of Tekken. I want to say one thing about my impressions of the game. I think that Tekken is going even more of a direction of like more hype and more anime, more than I ever thought it would. Right? I think Tekken 7 obviously was that step in that direction, and it seemed to be more of a comparative game to Virtua Fighter, but now it's like going deeper and deeper down this different sort of aesthetic, which I think is interesting in its own way. But what do you think about the current state of Tekken 8, man? I mean, we were excited about it before it dropped. We were anticipating and waiting. We were waiting for our characters. There were fake leaks, all the stuff. I know you talk about that on your channel too, like the journey that we've all been through with Tekken 8. What is the word, man, on this game? What is the facts about this game?
I kind of feel like with Tekken 8, I think one of the things with players that we all thought that was going to happen because of what happened with Tekken 7, I think we all thought that with Tekken 8, it was just like once it was released, it was just going to be a plug in and go type of thing. But then
Right.
once we were able to, experience, like the heat system and all of those other things that were going on with the game, a lot of us kind of realized, what, Tekken 8, they're doing things different and they're doing things remotely different. So,
Hmm.
the game has been out for a year. I kind of feel like the game is still kind of like in its infancy as far as being a complete game. And that's
Hmm.
another thing that we kind of figured out. Tekken 8 was far from being complete. So it's one of those things now we got to take it season by season, year by year when it comes to Tekken 8 because it kind of seems like with Tekken 8, the ideas that they've poured into it, they are really kind of shaping it up to be something different as far as the future is concerned.
Hmm.
They really are shaping it up to be something different, and it's going to keep some fans. We all know they're doing it to bring other fans into the game,
Hmm.
but it's just one of those things where we're gonna have to be very patient with Tekken 8 as far as the seasons go on and the years go on. But overall, I still think Tekken 8 is a great game. I still think it is Tekken. A lot of people say that Tekken 8 isn't Tekken. I still think it's Tekken for the most part. But
Hmm.
we're just gonna have to get used to what they've incorporated. And find a way to deal with how they've incorporated things and to make it to where you know we're at least having fun with it or we're comfortable with it.
Most definitely, most definitely. What do you think about that first lineup of guest characters for Tekken 8 Season 1 DLC? I was definitely surprised. I was anticipating an ogre to be in there. I was expecting, we all expected maybe an Anna would be in there because of the polls that Harada was putting out. We have, I think, Eddie, we have Lydia, we have Heihachi, and we have Clive. I think those are the only four.
Mhm.
What does that tell you about the game, where it's going, where it is now? What does that lineup say? Because it's a lineup I wasn't expecting. I don't think any of us were expecting. Eddie to
Mhm.
start, Lydia, Heihachi. He's supposed to be dead, but he's not. And then we get Clive from Final Fantasy to round it out. What does that lineup tell you about Tekken?
Honestly, before Clive, the lineup was actually pretty good. Now Heihachi caught everybody off guard. When it came to Heihachi, I always thought Heihachi was gonna come back maybe like in season 3 or something like that. Uh, but for the most part, Eddie was expected. Lydia was definitely to be expected. Heihachi was expected, but not this soon. It was just when we got to Clive, that's when I was like, okay, hold up, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Especially after Harada said that they're not really focused on guest characters at the moment. So Clive was definitely like a WTF to a lot of people. But other than that, the first three of the lineup was actually pretty cool. When it came to Heihachi, I actually welcomed Heihachi. I just didn't like how broken that he was when he
Hmm.
first came out.
Hmm.
But, when it came to Clive, I think that's when everybody just was like, WTF, like what's going on here? Especially when another Final Fantasy character, Tifa Lockhart, was heavily demanded. They basically give us a Noctis with Victor capabilities. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, that just really just caught everybody off guard. You know, and as far as Anna is concerned, she seems to be coming early season 2, so that's a good thing. But as far as Clive, like people are still scratching their head about that. Like, where did that come from?
Most definitely. And speaking of characters, you're an Eddie, main, you're an Eddie expert. How do you feel about the core gameplay when you compare Eddie from Tekken 7, Eddie in Tekken 8? How do you feel about the actual gameplay and the mechanics of that character and in Tekken 8 in general? Or do you think certain things need to be toned down? Do you think things need to be, turned up? What's the impression of actually turning on the game, getting into a rank session, playing your character, climbing up the ranks? What is your impression on that experience?
I think with Eddie, for the most part, it's more like you have to use more of his 50-50 arsenal. When it comes
Hmm.
to Eddie, you have to really keep your opponent guessing. because that's really Eddie's only reward. He's not really a character like a Heihachi to say where he can just launch you all day and just get all kinds of damage and stuff like that. So you really have to use his 50-50 tools at a max to really overwhelm your opponent. Like in Tekken 7, it was more like Eddie was like that, poke and pop out type of character. You have to get in, do a couple of pokes, and then get out of there, see what the opponent is going to react to.
Right.
But now it's more like, you have to have that mindset to where you really have to put your opponent in a guessing situation,
Right.
To have a chance against them and have a chance to overwhelm them. So that's the big difference when it comes to Eddie. But as far as his, like the combos and stuff, yeah, it's pretty much similar, pretty much the same. A lot of the veteran Eddie players, they don't really have a problem with him in that aspect. So that's how I feel about it. And like with Tekken 8, overall with the mechanics, of course it's more aggressive. Now you have the heat system. So basically, when it comes to Tekken 8, the heat system is something that we always have to think about when we're going up against any opponent. So when we're doing what we're doing, we always got to have that in the back of our head, because once the opponent activates heat, the match can quickly turn around. So it's just one of those things that we just have to be aware of at all times while we're doing our thing on the offensive end.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're on the defensive end, we also have to be aware of stage awareness, because if you get caught on a certain part of the stage, you're going to get launched. So it's really all around thinking. You can't stop thinking. You have to always, think about what you're doing and where you're at to be cool in Tekken 8.
Most definitely, man. I'm curious. What do you think the reason is that Bandai Namco has not released Tiger Jackson?
I remember I actually did a video that Harada actually said it's because of the new ideas that they have for him.
Mm-hmm.
It just hasn't come to intuition as of yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the reason. So whenever we do see Tiger Jackson, he's probably going to be a completely different person. He's not going to be a capo. He's probably going to be, maybe some type of Jim Kelly type of character or something.
Oh, cool.
So I'm thinking that's what's going on with Tiger. But Harada has mentioned that they are working on, getting his ideas going. And who knows, we may see him in Tekken 8.
Most definitely. What I want to do a quick word association game. When I say this game's title, what's the first word or phrase that comes to mind? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Mortal Kombat.
Not the same.
Most definitely. Most definitely. What do you think? What do you think changed?
Well, shoot, I could write a whole book on that. Well,
Hey, we might need that book, man. That'd be dope.
man, well, for one, the overselling of the guest characters. I think NetherRealm has really taken that way too far when it comes to the guest characters and Mortal Kombat. Of course, the cameo system. The recycling of the multiverse and the story modes. We can go on and on, and we can go on and on when it comes to Mortal Kombat. But just to name a few, I think that's what it is with Mortal Kombat right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused with why Mortal Kombat is struggling. I mean, I guess the sales are generally good or whatever, but as far as its favor with the fans, it's kind of waned. Mm-hmm. And I think it's such a simple, easy, cool game to get. And my personal opinion is that they probably struggled with dealing with the gore, and the gore was such a big part of the game that maybe it deterred them from actually just creating the best game that they could, because they felt like their identity was in this specific type of thing. And I think with MK1, they tried to switch up the identity a bit and create a whole new universe and things like that. But it also sort of alienated fans a bit too. What do you think is going on with that game? Do you just chalk it up to just corporate corporate bureaucracy, or is there something else deeper going on with the Mortal Kombat title?
Bad corporate decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And kind of like the woke activity that's going on with the game. That's also kind of turning fans off. turning Cyrax and Sector into females and stuff like that, going that route. The whole Sweet Baby Ray's situation. So it's a lot of things going on there with Mortal Kombat, and fans are starting to really pick up on it, and
Sweet Baby
not happy. Oh, go ahead.
Sweet Baby Inc. I think you're talking about the company that does like the DEI stuff. They like help companies make their games more whatever, woke for lack of a better word.
Yeah. My bad. I said Sweet Baby Ray's.
I think that's the barbecue sauce.
Yeah, my bad.
Maybe go out here and get in the kitchen and start making some something to eat, man. But no, Sweet Baby Inc. I think, but yeah, you're mentioning that basically the woke and changing Cyrax and Sector continue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, fans are catching all of that, and they're not happy with it, and they're voicing their opinions about it, and that's a good thing. Hopefully, NetherRealm, Warner Brothers, hopefully they listen to it and make some changes.
What would be the ideal situation? I mean, in a perfect world, money wasn't an option. I mean, it wasn't an obstacle. It wasn't an issue. What would happen to the next MK entry to bring this series back and make it perhaps even lead the fighting game industry? What needs to happen for Mortal Kombat in a perfect world? If you were in charge and they were like, look, Demetrius, whatever you say, we got the budget for it.
Okay. Well, what they should do is just bring it back to classic Mortal Kombat. Take out the whole, breakaway system. Take out, cameo system. Make it Mortal Kombat again. Make it 1 versus 1, mortal versus mortal. They can start out with that.
Right.
Another thing too is make the story straightforward. None of that multiverse stuff. Just give us a story. Give us the characters. And, just go from there. Make it straightforward from beginning to the end. When it comes to the gore, I actually think that they've been doing a good job when it comes to the gore and stuff like that. Fatalities, got some pretty cool fatalities. Fatalities are more creative than ever, although making us pay for them. I don't know, that's crazy. I don't know what's going on there, but, so,
rough. Thanksgiving fatality. That was crazy.
Oh, yeah. And especially now that, a lot of us, like from a content creator standpoint, we can't do fatalities because of demonetization. So making us pay for them was, I don't know, that was kind of pointless. But
that seems real rough, man, that they demonetize the game because it's so violent. So like you can't really make any money off of it. That seems like it's always going to work against Warner Brothers and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think that is gonna work against them. I'm thinking that's the reason why they're giving us all of these different type of DLC characters from different genres, kind of to counteract that. But at the same time, fans are just not happy with that. Fans really want classic characters. We want classic characters that we grew up with to come back, and that's another reason why people are upset with the cameo system. I myself, Stryker is my favorite character of all time, and I'm forced to play him as an NPC, as a cameo, and that kind of frustrates me. Every time Stryker comes out as an assist, I get really upset and angry. I can't use him, and so it's
you're like, why can't I just take control of him now? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it really hurts. It really does, man. So. Hopefully in the next Mortal Kombat game, they just, go back to the basics, go back to how simple Mortal Kombat was, because it's really not over the top like people think it is. It's really very simple when it comes to Mortal Kombat. And if they go back to that, Mortal Kombat will be fine,
What do you think about esports right now? I mean, in general, fighting games, what's your thought about the esports scene and things like that, how it's developing, and are you watching that closely?
Yeah, I think it's doing very well. I think it's doing very well when it comes to, events. People are getting tuned into them. People have, players that they root for and stuff like that. And, the numbers speak for itself. Whenever these events come around, people do tune into them. So I think it's pretty good. I think it's going to get better once, Virtua Fighter gets back into the scene and Fatal Fury, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what's going on when it comes to the esports scene. I think it's only going to grow and get stronger, and hopefully, players that get out there and go to these events either to participate in them or just to be there live. So I'm really happy what's going on.
Most definitely. And I know, you're obviously a fighting game player first, but you're also a content creator and you've been
Hmm.
putting content consistently for years. And I feel like recently in the past, since we've talked, you've really ramped up the content. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, but you've grown a lot. You've covered, gone deeper. You're covering everything, new story as relates to fighting games and other gaming things as soon as it drops. What's your new strategy or what's your new mindset or your perspective going into 2025 with content creation? You are a content creator. You've been doing this thing for a while. What's your perspective right now as you go into the new year and, you have even more people more than ever tuning into your stuff. I see all the comments and stuff. You're generating conversation. What's next for you?
Basically, just drop the niche. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to creating content, they always say the number one thing to have is a niche. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in that anymore. I don't think niches are important right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be my main focus is to drop the niche, say whatever I feel. If a topic comes up, if I have something to discuss about it, you
Yeah.
know, just bring it out there. Just bring it out there and just let the people decide if they want to click on it, pay attention to it, comment on it, and then I'll just go from there.
Yes, sir. What other content are you thinking about doing, getting into, to outside of the niche that you've sort of grown?
I'm thinking about just basically, maybe kind of like comic content, meaning like superhero content, things like that.
Oh,
Something that
dope.
I always wanted to do
Yeah.
years ago, but I didn't never
Yeah.
get around to it. So, I'm thinking about doing that, and sometimes maybe every once in a while, probably talk about, kind of like real life type of things. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Things such as self, improving yourself, self improvement, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into that just a little bit more because self improvement does have a lot to do with becoming better as a content creator. It has a lot to do with that because you have to improve yourself in order to prove what you're working on. So it all makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
I do want to dive into self improvement, and I do want to make content off of past experiences that I've had when it comes to the FGC or even real life. You feel what I'm saying? I want to dive in that type of content as well.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll definitely be, looking out for it. I think that's a great idea. And there's so many players that really want someone to speak more on those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
So, I mean, that's a great opportunity for you to kind of add in your actual experience. And I know you started doing that uh, a little bit, that you kind of built up, more of the fighting game stuff. And so now you're going to kind of get back more into general information. And I think it would be dope to do superhero stuff or just comic book media stuff, kind of like commentating on it.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have a playlist where I got about 10 or 12 videos that I did that over the years. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying to get back into that and just seeing where I can go with it.
Yeah, I think you should, bro, because I could see like you, especially doing things that intersect with gaming or intersect with fighting games. If you could, like, let's say, I'm just the first thing that comes to my mind is like Spawn, even though he doesn't have a movie coming out now. Like, they've been in talks to do a new Spawn movie, and they've been in talks to do a Blade movie, which I think got canceled, or they lost the director or something like that. With the Ali guy, I forget his name, but they were supposed to do a new Blade movie, and I think like
Mhm.
you covering those kind of stories could be really dope. Like, yo, this movie or this game, supposed like there's supposed to be a new Street Fighter movie coming out. That's like another thing you could kind of like cover. Like,
Yeah.
Street Fighter's coming out. Here's who they need to play. Like, that would be a funny video or in a cool video. Like, you're saying, here's who needs to play Guile. Here's who needs to play Ken. Here's who could play Ryu. Like, that kind of thing could be dope. You know what I mean? Just
Oh yeah. Yeah, I actually touched on that. If you could remember the video that I did on Eternal Champions, that it was going to have a movie
oh,
coming
word.
out.
I do remember that.
Yeah, so yeah, that was kind of like me kind of, diving into that talking about things like that. And that movie, not the movie, but that video actually did pretty good. So,
bro, you know what? And that was a dope video too. But you know what? I would actually think would be a dope video to make, man. Like if you did, like top '90s films, top 10 '90s action films, top 10
oh,
like, and you just show the picture of the image like while you're talking about it, or voiceover, like, yo, these are my top 10 '80s action flicks. These are my top 10 like drama flicks. These are my top 10 heroes. Like that would probably blow up, bro.
oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. It's always been in the back of my head to do stuff similar like that, you know. But the reason why I haven't been, because I have been afraid, you know, because when you make a video like that and what I was doing, you're not going to get the views or duration, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't afraid of doing that, but now, I'm just dropping that fear, and then I'm just going to just start releasing what I feel, and releasing, what I feel like, is important or interesting to the public.
Definitely. And I think that's good. I'm glad that you are dropping that fear, because I feel like your perspective is so unique, like that you'd be bringing up stuff that I didn't even think about. Like you were talking about like Eternal Champions, which it wasn't a game I grew up with, but you were like, it made me look it up, like made me look up more about the lore of Eternal Champions and the character design, because it wasn't a game that I started playing. And I think Shimu as well, like you were like breaking down that, like, and the Seika history, and like you actually have like a lot of knowledge, man. So I would say, like, from my perspective as a viewer, I think like doing more of your fighting game stuff, of course, is your bread and butter, but then branching out and talking about like just sharing what you know. You know what I'm saying? Because I think people tune into you because of your unique perspective, your ability to share your opinions. Like you put me on the game music that I wasn't checking for. Like I think you did a video, you were talking about like Virtua Fighters, or Fighters Mega Mix, has like the best music, right? And I was like, oh, check that out. You know what I mean? Like those little nuggets.
Oh yeah.
If you did that, man, for like, oh yeah, like this is the best comic covers. These are the best, da da da. And you don't have to do a long video, because I know your time is super, valuable, and you have to work on many different things. You have a lot of projects, but man, it would benefit me, because like I said, there's stuff that you've seen that I haven't seen. You know what I mean? That you actually like to your core. You know what I mean? Like you're even that you like Stryker a lot. Like it makes me reevaluate the character of Stryker. Feel what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like you said, when you mentioned like the fighting game music of Fighters Mega Mix, I was thinking about doing a video on top 5 fighting game soundtracks of all time, or maybe top 10, but so I'm going to be looking into that, because I do have a lot to say when it comes to the top fighting game soundtracks. So yeah.
I'd say, man, I'm looking forward to that video, but I'm just, as a side piece, man, lean into your vision, because like I said, I watch your videos because I like, this dude's got a really unique perspective. And I say, man, since you have a perspective and you already don't care what other people have to say about it or whatever, of course you want to grow on YouTube, and everybody wants that, but it's like your perspective is so unique. Boom, bro, tap in on that, man. Tap in on that 100%. Because I'm sure there's more, like, because like I want to ask you about different things, but I'm like, I already know you have so much knowledge about different things. So it's like, if you start making videos about movies, then next time we do our next interview, I'm like, oh, let me ask him about these films, and we could do an interview just about movies. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So but man, yes, because I love all the movie. I love all the things. You know what I mean? And I think we've talked about this last time, that the fighting games are really just an opportunity for us to like learn about ourselves through different characters, and learn about our interests and patterns through characters. You know what I'm saying? Which Eternal Champions is a game that has great characters. Yep.
And then of course, I know we talked about it. Fighting games is a good opportunity to learn about, different cultures and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
most definitely, man. Let me a couple more questions. I'm gonna let you go. Street Fighter 6. You were playing it a lot when it first dropped on the channel. It's not as in the rotation on the YouTube thing as far as you're concerned right now. What's your impression right now with Street Fighter? What's your thoughts on that now that it's been out for a while?
I like Street Fighter 6. Really, it has its issues, but it's pressing all the right buttons. Like having Terry Bogard as DLC.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what fans want. Fans want a character like Terry Bogard to be in a game like Street Fighter, whereas you got Conan the Barbarian in a game like
Oh
Mortal
man.
Kombat. So Capcom is doing the right things when it comes to that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because growing up, that was our fantasy to see Terry Bogard in Street Fighter or Ken in Fatal Fury. I don't think, growing up, our fantasy was to see, He-Man in a Tekken game. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, and
That's just me.
Arnold Schwarzenegger twice. I remember you made a big point about that. You were like, "We just had Arnold Schwarzenegger in MK11. Like, what's going on?"
Yeah, and it kind of makes me kind of worried. Like, we might see the Joker for a third time. You know what I'm
Right. That
saying?
would be
So,
crazy.
yeah.
That would be crazy.
But going back to Street Fighter 6, I really do think Capcom is pressing the right buttons when it comes to DLC. Like I said, they constantly update their system. So, they are trying to keep their fans happy. They do listen to their fans when it comes to the system. And, everything is looking pretty good for Street Fighter 6. I had stopped uploading for Street Fighter 6 mainly because it was kind of like, YouTube wasn't picking up my Street Fighter content. So I was just like, let's just stop for a while and just play, So that's what it's really been when it comes to Street Fighter 6. But Street Fighter 6 is still fun. Capcom is still doing what the fans want them to do. And it looks like everybody is satisfied when it comes to Street Fighter. And Street Fighter is still fun to watch on a competitive level.
Okay, good, good. What about the biggest story in fighting game news for you right now? I mean, whether or not it's the new games, it's the new characters, it's the rumors, the gossip, the drama, the Twitter, the tournaments. Evo Japan, Evo Singapore, Evo France, Evo Vegas. What is like the most exciting or interesting story for you in fighting games at this moment? Because you're always plugged into all the stories that are happening in the fighting game community. What excites you the most or interests you the most right now?
Right now, I actually have two.
Yes, sir.
First one is, Tekken 8's future.
Yeah.
I'm really excited, actually excited I'm more excited than worried when it comes to Tekken 8's future because, we can all agree Tekken 8 is going to be around for at least 6 to 7 more years. You feel me? So, Tekken 8's future and what, they plan to give us, people are still wanting the Tekken Force mode and things like that. So, that's my interest. Is Namco actually going to go through with that? And then of course, Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter 6 is clearly going to be a different realm from past Virtua Fighters. It's already been talked about. Some characters may not return, some characters may return, and things like that. So the future of Virtua Fighter, what they're going to do with the possible new story, new realm of the game. So I'm also interested in that to see what's going on with both of those games. Really, just the future of Virtua Fighter and Tekken, the top two 3D fighting games that we have right now.
Man, what's the chances that we could get you on Marvel Rivals?
You know what? I'm the reason why I haven't really talked about Marvel Rivals, I actually thought it was a mobile game. Like, then somebody told me like, no, it's not a mobile game. So now that it's not, I'm actually going to check it out. So yeah, so that's the reason why I haven't been talking about it. I thought it was a mobile game, honestly.
Man, well, the algorithm needs your take on that.
Oh yeah, I'm actually looking into that right now.
Yeah, that would be a certified banger. First of all the fighting game players they're all streaming Marvel Rivals, and then I interview people and talk to people, and they're like, "Man, I'm playing Marvel Rivals," and I'm like, "For real?" And fighting game people are playing the game, and I got into it a little bit. I do enjoy it, but I'm just saying like that is it. I don't know if you're into hero shooters and the Overwatch style of game. That's why I asked. But I'm like, even if you're not, I think that, man, if you could talk about the Marvel superheroes or characters, even that they should just add in the DLC, because they're talking about they're going to add a Doom 2099 into it. And there's a bunch of characters that aren't as popular, like Penny Parker, who's like a anime robot version of Spider-Man. Like, there's a lot of different characters, and we know the Marvel universe is huge. And it's a video game, and it's a free video game. and it's the most popular video game right now, and it's got Marvel characters. I feel like that's right up your alley for algorithm takeover.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And like I said, somebody, I think it was like somebody came to my comment section and told me about it, and then I responded to him like, "Isn't that a mobile game?" And the person said,
It
"No,
sounds
no,
like it, don't it? It sounds like it'd
yeah,
be a mobile game. Yeah.
yeah." So yeah, definitely checking into that and seeing what's going on with Marvel Rivals. Like when it comes to Marvel, it can be a shooting, fighting game. I'm a Marvel fan through and through. So I know I made a video like when I first started YouTube on how I collected all the Marvel comics and Marvel games and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely gonna be looking into that.
Man, I hope so, man. Because like I said, you drop that, people are gonna be like, "Yo, word!" Like, D all the way G's got a Marvel Rival video about to drop. Like that would be hype. That would be definitely hype because like people would be really into your take on the game. And even if you like the game, I'd be curious if you even like it. You know what I mean? And if you like it, who are the dope characters in it, or what characters you'd like to see, or whatever. You know what I mean? That would be really dope. I always see content popping up on my feed for that game. It's super popular, even Instagram content and all that kind of thing. Man. So hopefully we can get you on that, man.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, what is the big plan for 2025? Obviously, you're going to break out of the niche for your YouTube content, but for you personally or for gaming in general, what is your goal and what's your message to our listeners?
My goal is basically to just to be more thorough
Yeah.
when it comes to creating content. I know a lot of times, back in 2024, sometimes when you create content, you kind of get that feeling like you just have to rush something out from a trend standpoint.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna try to be more thorough when it comes to the content. Just sit back and just take more time on making the videos and the topic. You know what I'm saying, and just not worry about the trend so much. Because I kind of feel like once you get it out there, people are going to listen to it and are going to relate to it just as long as the full message is getting across. So that's one of the main things I'm going to be focused on, just being more thorough. And when it comes to the gaming, just more of the same. Play the games that I enjoy, and play the games that, of course, I'm dedicated to, and the games that I know that once I'm explaining something, I know that it's going to be right because I've got so much experience and knowledge with the game. So that's what I'm looking for when it comes to 2025. Just being more thorough.
Most definitely, man. And what's your message for our listeners, man? That maybe they want to follow up with your work, or maybe they want to tap in on content. What's your word, man, for the new year? What's the message?
You know what? Just continue the game. Just continue to go with what you believe in, and don't let anything change your beliefs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely know what you're saying on that. And hopefully, man, I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully for next year we can have you back on to talk about Virtua Fighter. And as new content comes out, I know you're going to be heavy on the Virtua Fighter content.
Oh yeah.
I'm really excited to see what you do with that, man, moving forward.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm definitely excited about the Virtua Fighter. Then we've got Virtua Fighter 5 Revo coming out in less than a month. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be all over that, and I'm definitely going to be all over Tekken 8 as well. So the two top games definitely going to be over.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're going to be supporting and watching every step of the way. Demetrius, we appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much.
Hey man, always man, glad to be here.